Good afternoon, everybody. I was up on stage earlier. My name is Omer Ozden. I'm the founder of RockTree Capital, one of the co-hosts of this event. By way of background, I mentioned that what we focus on are founders and also scaling up projects from east to west and west to east. And so we've got a group of projects that are from the West and also from the East on stage. And what we're going to be talking about today is themes for exponential value creation. So what are some of the themes in Web3 that are exploding since 2023 and even earlier, but definitely developing traction in 2024. And we have projects here that are represented from these themes. So one of them is AI meets Web3, and we have the founder of Covalent, Ganesh, who they're the leader in structured data for artificial intelligence. And you can also talk about deepen as well today. Another theme that's emerged in the prior cycle, but really important in 2024, is solving cross-chain infrastructure. And we saw a lot of vulnerabilities in that area, but we have a project represented by Shawn of Axelar, and they are solving the cross-chain problem, but without actually bridging through a platform, which is different from what is happening in the past. We also have Balal, who is from a project, ZKEX, which combines two of the really important themes that we saw emerge over the past couple of years, which is ZK technology and DEXs. So RockTree invested early stage in DYDX, which in the last cycle became the largest DEX in Web3. But now there's many DEXs that have come out, and it is an area that has tremendous growth. Welcome, Balal. And an area that Asians are a little more familiar with, Chinese are a little more familiar with, but less familiar to Westerners, or you're starting to figure it out, is the emerging Bitcoin ecosystem space. So we have two projects that are layer twos on Bitcoin, and each of them are approaching it in a different way. We have Hakan from BEVM. Welcome, Hakan. And we also have Pavel from GGX, which are both Bitcoin ecosystem projects. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. So I want to start out by having each of you introduce yourselves, introduce your project, and talk about how you're bringing value to the Web3 space. So I'm going to start in the middle with Ganesh.
Hey guys, thank you Omer for that great introduction. So I'm Ganesh Swami, I'm one of the co-founders of Covalent. And what we do is we scrape blockchain data, put it into a structured format, and then offer that for downstream applications. And historically, that's been DEXs, that's been NFT marketplaces, that's been taxation use cases, that's been audit use case. But increasingly, what we are starting to see are all of the AI applications that are starting to train their LLMs using this large body of structured data. So I've been in the data space for about a decade, and Covalent has been around for a while. So really excited to share my insights over the coming moments. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's talk, Shawn, you want to go next?
Sure, thank you, Omer. Hi, everyone. My name is Shawn. I head up Asia Pacific for Axelar. So Axelar is one of the leading interoperability cross-chain messaging protocol So what does that mean, right? So essentially right now, you have heard many panels throughout today that there are more and more rollups, there are more and more sovereign chains, right? How do you connect and make sure that the whole user experience is a lot easier to onboard the next billion users? So that's what we are doing right now, working with different projects to solve the problem about chain abstraction and also going beyond just bridging, right? That's something that Omer mentioned. How can we work with top applications which we are already working with, like for example, DYDX, Lido, Uniswap, in different types of use cases that enables them to actually operate on multiple chains and have novel use cases that are built on a cross-chain basis. So if you think of it right now, if you are an application user, you turn on your Apple iPhone, you do not know what protocols you are actually interacting with. So we want to abstract that all away so that when you use your Uniswap to open up a new trade position, right, you can also do a loan on top of that and without just swapping apps and swapping wallets and swapping chains. This is something that we're trying to solve in the space. And yeah, happy to share more.
Great. Balal, who is CMO at ZKEX, which is a ZK-based DEX.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. So zkex.com is a super DEX. And you may wonder, what is that? And let me answer that in the form of a question. What is the most profitable business model in crypto right now and will be in the future? The answer is a CEX. You cannot bet against the CEX. They're going to be profitable before, now, and they will be in the future. So 2 years ago, our team asked ourselves the question, we want to make money, but what can we do better in this space? And we thought, let's make a better version of a CEX. So we take that same model and put it on chain. So copy, clone Binance, OKX, and the other CEXs, put it on chain. How on earth do we do that? It was very, very difficult. So we thought, number one, we want to solve the problem of risk, which CEXs suffer from. So Omer mentioned pinhole risk in his talk earlier. What do? We want to make it self-custodial. The second thing is, how do we prove that the assets are secure? And we thought, okay, technology-wise, validity proofs are the best way. Zero knowledge is without a doubt the best way to prove asset security on chain. The second thing is usability. It's an awful experience using DEXs right now. There's so many L2s out there, so many L1s. You're moving money from chain to chain using this bridge and that bridge, and then you lose money actually. Like you don't even know where your money is at certain points. So we thought, let's aggregate all this liquidity on all these different blockchains and L2s and rollups and put it into a place where you can just buy a token and implement your trading strategy. So our product is very much based about eliminating risk and making things easy for traders. That's it. And it was not easy, and I don't think anyone else has done it before. And we're going to go live next month, and that will be our big launch and a proof of our intention from 2 years ago.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, RockTree, we've invested into DEXs before, DYDX, for example. ZKEX was founded from former Binance and Huobi team, and very advanced product, omni-chain, utilizing ZK technology with respect to latency. And even though a couple of these members look like they're from the West, a lot of the team is actually Chinese, from China. So it's a local project as well. And we have a similar thing here. I talked about Bitcoin Eco. We have Hakan from BEVM, which is also a project from the region, layer 2 scaling on Bitcoin. Hakan?
Hi everyone, my name is Hakan. First of all, big thanks to the organizer for making this event happen. Like actually very quality event, bringing quality people together and making brainstorming on such important topics, possible. So my name is Hakan. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of BEVM. Basically, what we do is we are EVM compatible Bitcoin Layer 2 solution. So it dates back to 2018 when we first started to building Bitcoin Layer 2 called Chainx at this time. So at its peak, we hit 100,000 Bitcoin deposited and transacted through Chainx. And then with the upgrade of Bitcoin, basically Taproot upgrade. We also upgraded ourselves, and into that, basically last year we launched BEVM, and we have just recently went live our mainnet. So basically, we're making Bitcoin ecosystem to grow. Make it possible, make Bitcoin circulation of Bitcoin on other chains possible. So currently, you all probably heard about Wrap Bitcoin is making this, but it's not in a decentralized way. So it's issued and basically guaranteed by institutions which are centralized. But what we want to achieve is making it possible in a decentralized manner, and bringing our motto is bringing 10% of Bitcoin to layer 2. So yeah, thank you.
Great. And on the theme of Bitcoin ecosystem, we have GGX, which is taking a different approach to layer 2 with light clients from Bitcoin to Cosmos to Ethereum for liquidity. And so Pavel from GGX.
Hi everyone. At GGX is a interchain consensus platform. We run light clients on consensus layer for Ethereum and Bitcoin. We have IBC interface, and we are going to integrate with more chains. That's in our roadmap. We are really concerned about security of when it comes to operating between different chains. So our solution is very focused on security and is built for DeFi. And we have a hybrid EVM application layer. And our first product is a DEX and a request for quote. So we're helping both institutionals and retail for safer DeFi operations. And request for quote is a perfect thing for institutionals as they're not in a hurry to sell something in that second, but they can wait until they have the bid that satisfies their request. So for example, if they want to sell or buy some big amount of tokens, they can put a request for quote and wait for a bid. We are supporting ordinals and runes that are hyping right now, and we are going to launch later this year. Currently, we're in active testnet phase, and we receive very positive feedback from our investors, advisor, and tech people. So we're going to blast soon. Thanks.
Great. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So let's get into some specific questions. I'm going to start with Covalent, Ganesh. Let's talk about AI and the intersection with Web3 and long-term structured data. Li Kai-Fu, who is a famous investor from China in AI particularly, he said that data is the oil of the AI industry. And so explain to us specifically what is Covalent doing with respect to data, long-term structured data, and scaling and the value that it's bringing to the ecosystem.
Great question. So one of the fundamental misunderstandings about blockchains is that people think of it as a database, but really blockchains, they are billboards, which means you post data on the blockchain and then the data expires after the challenge window. So this is has been an overlooked problem in the space, but over the past couple of months, this is starting to become a very acute problem. So specifically, some examples here would be with the Dekun upgrade on Ethereum, the blobs which were published gets deleted after 4,000 epochs. That's about 18 days. So there's a chance that your cryptocurrencies could be deleted. A second example is if you pushed your data to a data availability layer like a Celestia or an EigenDA or an avail, what happens is that the data is on the DA layer only for the challenge window, and past the challenge window, the data is deleted. This is primarily because the security of the DA layer needs to be the security of the L1. Otherwise, you could hack the DA layer and have corrupted data onto the L1. So you can't provide this security for long-term accessibility or storage. And with state expiry, with the purge, there's a lot of things that are coming down the horizon where access, unfettered access, unrestricted access to historical archival data on the blockchain becomes next to impossible. So what would happen is centralized companies would come in and provide a solution, and the whole point of blockchains is to have have decentralized data access. And that is really what we're doing with Covalent. So we've introduced a piece of technology called the Ethereum Wayback Machine. So if you're familiar with the Internet Wayback Machine, it's basically an archive of the entire history of the Internet. So the Ethereum Wayback Machine keeps historical access to data, and because this is a decentralized protocol, there's it's censorship resistant and it's permissionless. So that is a piece of technology that we've done. Now on top of this, because the whole point of an indexer like Covalent is to provide structured data, now you can ensure that the data that is being used to train your LLMs, for example, is not corrupted. There's no either accidental or malicious introduction of biases. It's making sure that the inference engine that you run is secure. So that is kind of the crux of the problem we're trying to solve. And we think it's a very important problem. And the community has really rallied around this solution. It's all open source. It's all permissionless. And I think we're leading into this new dawn where everything becomes decentralized, soup to nuts. So really excited about this future. Thank you.
Great. And so sticking to the theme of AI and its intersection with Web3, I want to talk to Axelar and also GGX. Our industry moves communication and value securely, and AI advancements have been adding a new layer of ability for the protocols to do that. So Shawn, tell me, how do you see AI overlapping with Axelar in the cross-chain space?
Sure. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, being a cross-chain interoperability protocol, we send millions, if not trillions of messages across different blockchains, right? That is the goal that we're moving towards. So i.e. there's a lot of data that's moving across different blockchains and interacting with different states. As what Ganesh mentioned earlier, is that the two key areas that we are looking at some overlaps in terms of adding AI capabilities on top of Axelar is the area of optimization and also security, right? So essentially, every time that a message is being passed through Axelar, how can I make the fastest way to get from chain A to chain B, right? The ability to actually select which coprocessor or what state that it should be going through. The other area is also to detect some malicious activity on the different chains so that we can stop and put the blockchain itself can actually stop the transaction before it actually goes ahead to do it, right? So the whole idea here is that the ability to actually program interoperability across different blockchains and subsequently add on AI on top of that. So if you know the pedigree of our founders of Axelar, they were the founding team of Algorand, and from MIT, and the whole team is coming out from the MIT Waterloo area. We just recently added an AI engineer. The whole idea is to really build on and research new areas of AI to utilize those techniques to actually enhance Axelar's capabilities.
And let me just add to what Shawn was saying. So RockTree really focuses on founders. And as soon as we met the founders of Axelar, Yorgos and Sergey, we fell in love. Like, we knew that they had the merits to be able to develop the Web3 technology in a highly innovative way with high-level execution. So I'm going to move to Pavel on the same question. How do you see AI supplementing GGX in the future?
I see at least two ways where GGX can use AI. First of all is, of course, security and just analyzing transactions, and AI can prevent a lot of troubles. But the second way is less obvious, but still important. AI can be successfully used in interfaces, in user-facing applications, for example, DEX and so on. As we can't even predict how useful it can be. It can even give some advice or something. Usually, users of exchanges, they are very familiar with all, with everything in the interfaces they use, but still AI can give some insights and guide users so they can benefit from that.
Okay. ZKEX, there's a lot of DEXs out there. You know, there are a lot of DEXs, but actually you guys started to become profitable around Q4 and you have users. So tell us what you see in terms of your strengths, in terms of usage, and why you're actually making money. And how do you see the inflow of new users for ZKEX?
Okay, so last year we had a soft launch. We spent no money and we didn't tell anyone about it. And we were very surprised that we actually started getting flow. And we broke even in some months and made a small profit eventually. And we only did this to try and get hacked. We wanted people to hack us and to break us, and it never happened. Instead, we started making money, and we changed our assumptions a lot about our business model. When we look at that, we thought about two things right now. One is, what are the big problems that every startup has, every project has? Number one is getting to product market fit. And the second one is, how do you have a reliable route to market? And I would argue that 95% of DEXs at the moment don't and never will have product market fit. And the second thing is, especially in the EVM ecosystem, a reliable route to market is extremely expensive and difficult because users are very unreliable and not loyal to your project. They just chase liquidity or incentives from project to project, and they're gone forever. So we pivoted essentially in terms of our targeting. And what we're targeting now is we're going for the kind of the high volume traders as our primary key market, because they're the ones who actually care about the product that we're actually building in terms of the elimination of risk and the access to a sophisticated product where you can implement a strategy in the way that your analysts tell you to do. So based on certain, whether you want to do spot trading or perp trading or a combination of the both, you can do cross margin or a delta neutral strategy. Whatever it is that you have in mind, you're able to implement on us. But at the same time, you want to do it in a trustless way and keep custody of asset as well, however you want to do it. So I think that's our route to market. And retail is still important to us, but they will follow later, especially in EVM. It's always Rails first, and then retail will follow. So to encourage retail, what we have is we do have an incentive program for them, but it's more about the product in the long term. So I think most of these DEXs that you see, there's a few, there's even one on the board right now and famous names out there, which will still be around in 5 years or 10 years, but ultimately it comes back to the product. And if you build a product which gets out of the way of what the user is trying to accomplish. So in terms of infrastructure, I know this is an infrastructure panel. So the way we've done it is we're building very, very solid infrastructure, and our technology, we believe, is world-class. But who cares? Because the user doesn't care about this stuff. As long as it's really, really safe and it does what they want it to do, and it's, if someone does DD on us, they'll find, oh yeah, it's kind of an unbreakable model. It's quite okay. But ultimately, that's not how you make money in this industry. You need a way to get out of the way of the customer.
Okay, great. And on users are very important. So the last question goes to Hakan at BEVM. When we invested into BEVM, it was still in testnet. I think it was like approaching 100,000 users, 30 projects building, but you've increased even beyond that and you've delivered mainnet. How many users do you have right now? And tell us how many projects on your ecosystem, and how are you attracting the users?
Sure. Thanks for the question. So with the debut of ordinals and inscriptions, we started to hear more about Bitcoins, and it attracted a lot of users and projects. And we're also very happy to, being connected with different projects, by organizing such events. More and more projects started to contact us and, wanted to understand more and more about Bitcoin ecosystem. So basically what we do is we have over 600,000 addresses now actively being traded, and already across like 1 million transactions already happened by that time. So it's been a little over a week since we went live. So we're actually quite new, though we have been building since 2018. So basically what we do is you imagine yourself as a common Bitcoin user. You deposit your Bitcoin or Bitcoin relevant assets like BRC20 or Rune into Taproot address. And then, so basically that is guaranteed by 1,000 custodians taking the custody of your asset. And then when you want to move to the from network to the BEVM level, so we use Schnorr signature, where we have 1,000 validators. Those can be actually the same people. When you want to do the other way around, moving your Bitcoin from BEVM to Bitcoin network, we're doing all this process in a decentralized manner. And another use case is basically for Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin whales when they want to do cross-chain swaps as well as lending. So we basically bridge Bitcoin to other chains, and everything is being with high security and in decentralized manner. So yeah.
Great. So we're going to wrap up this discussion, and I want to say these are the themes that have been emerging over the past couple of years, but really great gaining traction in 2024. Balal from ZKEX, ZK Technology and DEX. Hakan from BEVM, Bitcoin Ecosystem. Ganesh from Covalent, AI, Structured Data. Shawn from Axelar, Cross-Chain. And Pavel from GGX, Bitcoin Ecosystem L2 as well. Thank you, gentlemen. Shisha Daja.